Okay, we're going to start in on concept number 3. Concept number 3 is going to be dealing with exponents. So I'm actually going to give you all the rules for the exponents in this first video, but then we're going to discuss each one of them in separate videos. So the first one is if we are adding or subtracting anything with exponents. So in this case, we are going to just add and subtract like terms. In other words, if we have 3x squared and plus 4x to the third minus 5x squared, we can only put these x squareds together. They cannot combine with the x to the third. That's a different thing. And we'll talk about more about that in just a moment. So then the next one is if we multiply, then that means that we are going to add the exponents. And in short, that looks something like, okay, x to the 5th times x to the 6th equals x to the 11th. And again, we'll go into more of that later. Okay, so if we're adding the exponents when we multiply, then that means when we divide, we're actually going to subtract the exponents. And exponents, yeah, might be nice if I can spell. Wow. It is not happy with the eraser. There we go. So, exponents. And that would look something like x to the 7th divided by x to the 3rd. You would just go 7 minus 3, and that would be equal to x to the 4th. All right, so then the next one. The next rule is power to a power. So if we have like an x, well, let me write out the rule first. Power raised to another power. And when we have that kind of a situation, we're going to multiply exponents. And that would look something like x to the 3rd raised to the 5th. You just go, oh, 3 times 5 is 15, so x to the 15. And then the last that we're going to talk about, and I'm not going to do a lot of talking about it right now, is negative exponents. And with negative exponents, the rule is that we're going to move them to the other side of the fraction bar. So move to other side of fraction bar. And make positive. So an example of that is that if I said x to the negative 4, well, anything like if I just say 5 even, that's 5 over 1. So this is the same as saying x to the negative 4 over 1. So we're going to take this, we're going to move it to the other side of the fraction bar. So this will be 1 over x to the positive 4. And we can actually do a lot with that. So we'll get there in a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go back today and we're going to talk about just adding, subtracting, and then maybe some multiplication. So if I give you a whole bunch of different exponents, 5x to the 8th minus 6x to the 4th plus 7x to the 3rd plus 3x to the 8th minus 2x to the 4th, that kind of a thing. Again, we're looking for like terms. So here's an x to the 8th, and here's an x to the 8th. So we can combine those. They are like terms. Here's an x to the 4th, and here's an x to the 4th. Make sure we pay attention to the signs. So there's only one x to the 3rd, so there's nothing to combine it with. But here on the red, we've got 5x to the 8ths and 3x to the 8ths. That's like 5 apples and 3 apples. So that's going to be 8x to the 8th. Notice the exponent does not change here. On the blue ones, we have negative 6x to the 4th and a negative 2x to the 4th. So that's going to turn into a negative 8x to the 4th. And then since there's nothing to combine the x to the 3rds with, then we just have a set plus 7x to the 3rd, and that's all that's going on there. So we just have to make sure that we understand that we can only combine like terms. We can never add and subtract when the exponents are different. Okay, so now let's take a look at multiplication real quick. So we might have 8x to the 3rd times 4x to the 5th. Okay, when we do this, it's kind of like we're doing two different things. One is that we're looking at these coefficients. And two, we're looking at the variables being raised to the power. So with the coefficients, we just multiply. 8 times 4. 32. With the exponents, we would add the exponents. So x to the 3 plus 5 is 8. And that's the way that this rule works every single time. Even when we have negative exponents, we can just add them together if we're multiplying. Now, one of the big mistakes people make is that they hear, oh, we add the exponents, and then they try to add the 8 and the 4 when this is multiplication still, and the 8 times 4 is going to be 32. So one more. If we said something like 2x to the 3rd times 3x to the 5th minus 4x squared. So here we'd have to do some distribution. And so when we distribute these two things here, 2 times 3 is 6. X to the 3rd times x to the 5th. 3 times 5, x to the 8th. Then we go 2 times negative 4 gives us a negative 8. X to the 3rd times x squared. X to the 3 plus 2 is 5. All right. Well, that's it for today's video. We will see you in class.